What's up everybody, Paul here from Going Higher. In this video, I'm gonna take you along on a boat tour through the Florida Everglades. Now, if you're planning to visit Everglades National Park, no visit would be complete without taking a boat tour. So the park itself doesn't offer these tours, but there are a bunch of companies that do. And the one we decided to go with is called GATOR Park, which is just outside of Miami. Now, these tours are not that expensive at all. You can purchase tickets for $28 for an adult and $20 for children. And then there's a $5 park entrance fee, so that puts it around $32 total for an adult. Now, if you have a National Parks Pass or if you visited the park, then all you have to do is show this to them when you buy your ticket and they will waive the $5 fee. So traveling by boat really brings you inside the park, and it just allows you to see areas that wouldn't be accessible on foot. We did spend some time walking around a few of the trails in the park, but we found the boat ride to be so much more enjoyable. We really felt like we were in the Everglades. We saw a ton of alligators, and it was just a super cool experience. This is just about the whole tour, with a few cuts here and there where, we may have lingered at a spot to take some photos or whatever, and I just didn't want the video to get too long. So if you guys have any questions about the tour, just leave them in the comments. And thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the tour.
It's two?
Yeah.
Oh, it just says two on.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. They snap at the boat, they jump on the boat, we lose 10 people per day. How do we stay open? Wow, all the lawsuits. Man, how do we stay operating? Jay's off the dock, I have 22 tickets. Folks, welcome to the Florida Everglades. As we're traveling down our first canal, you want to focus your attention back into the woods, look down into the water, and look up into the trees for your best chance at seeing wildlife. Also, if you folks want to stand up, feel free to stand up. Right hand side, I see a big turtle, soft-shell turtle, laying down on top of the lily pads. Left hand side, alligator on the left, up on dry ground.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Where is he?
Over there laying.
Now on both sides of the boat, spatter dark lily pads provide shade and coverage for many different kinds of animals, including fish, turtles, frogs, snakes, and even baby alligators. So whenever you guys see lily pads, try to scan over them. You never know what you might find. Side, about 5 feet above the water, there's an anhinga bird, the same kind we saw back there on the dock with the fish. Anhinga, left hand side. We call those birds snake birds because they swim through the water with that long skinny neck and head above the water, and it looks like a snake. Out here, folks. These trees that are growing in the water, they're called pond apple trees. Pond apple trees grow a bright green fruit. They are edible, but they're extremely bitter and they're natural laxatives, so we don't eat those things. We just let them fall in the water. They'll get eaten by turtles, catfish, and even alligators. Turtle down there, that's a yellow-bellied slider. Good eye. left-hand side, that's called cocoa plum. Cocoa plum grow these miniature plums. They're about the size of grapes. They have fleshy white centers and they're mildly sweet, so I do eat those every chance I get. They're pretty good. Bottom left-hand side, the skinny green tubes growing out of the water, that stuff's called pencil grass. In a survival situation, you can eat the roots off the pencil grass to procure purified water. Otherwise, you would not want to drink that water without at least boiling it first. There's too many animals living in it, a lot of waste. That's definitely not good for us. On the right hand side, the taller grass that surrounds the pond apple tree, that's sawgrass. Sawgrass feels exactly like it sounds. It has 3 serrated edges that are just like the blades of a hacksaw. If you were to reach out there and grab a handful of sawgrass, it would slice your hands wide open. I see that happen all the time out here. At this time, we're going to get on that trail a little bit faster. Go ahead and put your earplugs in. Please screw those plastic wrappers they came in by putting them in your pocket or bag. Don't throw the wrappers on the floor, and don't put them under your legs because they'll blow out of the boat. Those of you wearing hats on your head, I recommend taking hats off, and I'm going to ask that everyone remain seated. Do not stand up while we're going fast.
Hats on.
I'll hold it.
Hey folks, you guys can stand up, take a look around, take a few pictures. Everybody's now inside of Everglades National Park. We're going to stay out here for a couple of minutes. In case anybody's wondering, that water's only 2 feet deep. The alligators are wherever they want to be at, and there's a big rock under that flag.
Yeah, I don't want to get wet again. That way is fine. That's not fun at all. Oh, I didn't believe it. I want to kind of wet feet.
Now, real quick, folks, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the Everglades and Everglades National Park. Our national park was established December 6, 1947. Today, the park is 1.5 million acres of protected land, but that's just the park. The entire system of the Everglades, combined from where they begin, south of Orlando, all the way down to where they end at the southern tip of Florida. It's roughly 5.6 million acres of land. What we have out here is all fresh water. This fresh water flows down south from Lake Okeechobee, the big lake in the center of South Florida. Throughout the spring and summertime, that's called our wet season. We get a lot of rainfall down here, and that fills up the lake. Through a series of canals, the water is slowly released out into the park. So average depth is only 2 feet. It's shallow anywhere you go in the Florida Everglades, with the exception of the man-made canals. But the water's constantly flowing at half a mile a day, so that makes the Everglades one big river, not a swamp. All this water will continue flowing south for about 36 miles. It's all going to spill out into the Florida Bay down by the Florida Keys. If you went down there, you would see alligators, crocodiles, and manatees in the water. That's the only place in the entire world where all three animals live together. Now, the only other place we can find alligators at besides America is in China. There's only 2 species of alligators on Earth. Other than that, everybody else has crocodiles, caimans, or gharials. Now, back to the glades. This freshwater supports 240 species of native fish, as well as about 100 species of invasives, 350 different kinds of birds out here, and over 40 species of mammals. Believe it or not, we do have black bears in the Florida Everglades. There's white-tailed deer, wild boar, skunks, beavers, nutrias, opossums, muskrats, bobcats. There's even Florida panthers out there. Not very many left, though. It's estimated there's less than 275 panthers in the wild. They're slowly pushing extinction. But most of the larger mammals live further west down 41 inside of Big Cypress National Preserve. That's a heavily wooded area with a lot more dry ground. The Everglades are made up of 9 different kinds of terrain, so depending where you're at, you'll find different kinds of animals. Now, do you folks have any questions for me? Pretty sure I covered the Everglades in about 2 minutes, huh?
What about the pythons?
I talk about that later on in the tour, ma'am. Questions
okay.
about what I just said.
Okay.
All right, folks, if you guys are all set, go ahead and put those earplugs back in. We're going to move to our next spot.
Yeah, they were.
take those earplugs out, put them in your pocket, we're gonna go slow for the rest of the way. Down this canal, we'll continue to look for wildlife. Since there's so many spatter dark lily pads, this makes it a great place to look. You guys wanna check the lily pads, look down into the water, and look up on the sides by the sawgrass. You never know what you might find. Since we're going slow again, you can stand up if you like. Up ahead on the right, here she comes.
Where? Oh yeah, there she is. Let's see her, yeah.
So this is Lily, 27-year-old female, and I know that's Lily because alligators are extremely territorial. This means they spend their whole lives in the same territories to defend those territories from other alligators.
Oh yeah, there she is.
So we always find her in this stretch of canal. We're gonna run her over.
You see her? She's right there.
Yeah, she's right in front of the boat.
Yeah.
You see her, Bella? Right there, going.
We're like harassing her.
This is her space.
You get her shells?
She's pretty.
Now Lily's about 27 years old and 7 feet long, but she has more growing to do. Female alligators max out at 9 feet long, and the males, they max out at 16 feet long. They get big. Either way, it will take an alligator most of its life to reach maximum length, and the alligators live to be about 60 years old in the wild with a good diet and environment. Here in the Florida Everglades, the alligators eat very well. They feed on fish, turtles, birds, ducks, and tourists. Yeah, they ghost on tourists. Let me pull up a little more. Now, the alligators are cold-blooded reptiles. That means they have to warm their bodies up with the sun, a process called thermal regulation. The bumps on their back help them do so. Each individual bump is called a scoot. A scoot's a bony plate with a blood vessel acting like a solar panel to help draw in the sun's warmth. The alligators must maintain a body temperature of 86 degrees Fahrenheit so they can properly digest their food and also remain fairly active. Because of this, we don't see a lot of alligators in the summertime or any time it gets hotter than 86 degrees out here. There's no need for them to come out. A lot of times they'll spend their days back there in the woods trying to cool off in the shade. This will also control and affect how and when they eat. Because they're cold-blooded, it takes them a very long time to digest their food. That means they do not get hungry every day and they do not eat every day. The alligators typically feed once a week in the summertime or twice a month in the wintertime. An alligator this size, she'll eat roughly 3 to 5 pounds of meat at a time. So if she snags a large enough turtle or even a small enough tourist, that could feed her for the entire month.
So does that mean she just likes the attention?
Well, we're in her territory. If you roll up in my front yard, I'll do more than come out and check you out. Let me pull forward a little more. This time of year is also nesting season, so most of the females are guarding their nests and they are a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, let me get this turned around. front of you guys, just laying down. The Lily's not yet fully grown. She can stay underwater for about an hour, but a full-grown alligator up to 2 hours. They'll even drop their heart rate down to 4 beats per minute and consume less oxygen. Alright, folks, we're gonna push on. Later, alligator. Flowers that are growing off the lily pads. They're called yellow water lilies. Yellow water lilies happen to be a favorite food source for some of the 16 species of turtles found inside Everglades National Park. About the end of Lily's territory. It's about as far as she'll go. After that, there's another alligator named Jumper that lives up ahead. But on my last tour, we seen some of the babies from last year down on the left-hand side. Hopefully they're still out. Slow down and give them a chance to come out. And down, ooh, there's the mom. There's Jumper. Down at the bottom. She's laying down at the bottom.
Oh yeah, I see her.
Now guys, Jumper's a lot more aggressive than Lily. So
Oh yeah, there she is.
Like blending
Oh yeah, look at her.
Boat as much as possible. Did I earn that nickname? She earned that name 6 years ago. There's the baby, right behind you, right behind you.
Oh yeah, here she comes.
Right there. Jumper! Last week she was doing that. She was underwater and I was pointing at her. She jumped out of the water and almost bit my hand. So be careful guys, she's very aggressive. She earned that name 6 years ago. Our friend Bradley was doing his tour. I was right behind him doing mine. Some idiot stuck his hand in the water and grabbed one of Jumper's babies.
Take some pictures.
Now watch your fingers, guys. Those guys eat finger food. What's that? The dad, they don't stick around. They don't pair off. Once they mate, the dad's gone. He'll move on to the next female, mate with her. So that little guy there's about 1 year old. And last year, he was half the size of that. They're about 5-6 inches long when they hatch out of the egg. They'll grow 5 or 6 inches in the first year. Then for the next 4 years, a foot. Then when they reach 5 years old, they're 5 feet long. Their growing slows down to 1 inch every year for the rest of their lives. And more or less, we know how old they are based on how big they are. So this little guy will still be protected by its mom for 2 years. At 2 years old, his skin's gonna get tough and mom's gonna force him out of this area. He's gotta go find his own territory. Nah, not at all. They might peck him a little bit, but it doesn't hurt. That's probably what got Jumper thrashing over there. One of the catfish touched her under her chin.
You going back to your seat?
Now, a lot of people often ask, how come the alligator don't eat the fish down there? They don't eat very much. They eat once a week, and those fish are way too small. When I've seen these alligators catch fish, they catch 4-pound, 5-pound fish, big fish. They don't waste their time on small stuff. These little fish are smart for hanging around the alligator, because the alligator will protect them from the larger fish that would eat them. No, there's a few. Like I said, usually we see 2 right here. There was 1 back there earlier, so I know there's at least 3. But who knows, a lot more probably back there. They usually stay to the safety of the taller trees and bushes, because when they come out here, they're in danger. These baby alligators, they get eaten by everything out here. Birds, snakes, fish, and other alligators.
What?
Alrighty, folks, we're gonna push on. Let's see what else we can find.
We're moving. You going back to your seat?
Later,
Stand over here.
alligator. You see that little trail that goes back into that cane grass there? That's where we think Jumper's new nest is at, because she's constantly coming in and out of there. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any snakes out here, but Florida's home to 44 species of native snakes, including 6 that are venomous. We have eastern diamondback rattlesnakes, pygmy rattlesnakes, canebrake rattlesnake. There's cottonmouth, copperheads, and coral snakes. But usually on our trails, we never see the venomous species. In this area, it's more common to see stuff like red rat snakes, yellow rat snakes in the trees, banded water snakes, brown water snakes, and mud snakes. Florida garfish back there, good eye. Now, another kind of snake found living in the Florida Everglades is
Okay, so that about wraps up the tour. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you found value in the video and it gave you some good tips, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. If you have any questions about the tour or the park, let me know in the comments. I'd be glad to answer. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.